Hi guys, I just finished watching this film called Obsession. I actually didn't even know this movie existed at first because as you can see, its poster isn't very eye-catching. I also didn't know who the director or actors were. I just knew it was a horror movie because I love them. I've been following movie news and people were praising it to the sky saying it was top tier, even calling it the scariest film of the year. It got a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes and 8.2 on IMDb, which is very high for a horror movie. As everyone knows, with horror movies, 9 out of 10 are usually bad. It's hard to even find one that isn't terrible. Well, I love watching horror films and have seen many great ones and as well as plenty of average or disappointing ones. A couple weeks ago, I watched the new Mummy movie. It's like something called Lee Cronin's Mummy. I don't know. And people online said it was extremely bloody, it was gross, and it was terrifying. But after watching it, I felt it was just like okay. The gore was decent, but overall it was pretty average. So I usually don't fully trust online reviews because movies are very subjective, especially for horror movies. Some people get scared very easily, so you really have to watch it yourself to know if it suits your taste. After watching Obsession, I found it very special and surprisingly good. I went in without watching any trailer and had no idea what the story was about. I only knew the male lead is secretly in love with a girl and one day he finds an object called the One Wish Willow. A stick you can snap it and whatever wish you make will come true. So he wishes for the girl to love him. That's actually very interesting. That's actually a very interesting romantic idea, and you wouldn't normally expect it to fit into a horror movie. But after watching it, I realized a lot of strange and fascinating things can happen from this premise. So here's the story. The protagonist is a very passive person who secretly loves a girl but never dares to confess. But the biggest irony is that, based on the film's setup, he actually had a real chance to win her over naturally. One of the film's key lessons is know your own worth and understand that you are deserving of love. Also, don't mess around with magic or any curse. Well, later, he finds a small item in the shop, which is the One Wish Willow. It was originally meant as a romantic gift for the girl. It's basically something where if you snapped it, a wish comes true. For romance, it sounds quite magical. So he makes a wish. He wants the girl to love him more than anyone else on earth. He snaps it, and it actually works. And it doesn't just upgrade things from B level to A level attraction. It doesn't simply turn him from a backup option into a boyfriend. It escalates into something disturbing and completely unhinged, proving the saying, be careful what you wish for. At first, everything feels dreamy and almost sweet. He doesn't immediately think, wow, this magical wish object really works. Nobody would believe that right away. So at first he just thinks, oh, she likes me now, great. But gradually he starts thinking, maybe that wish object is actually real. And I have to say the casting in this film is excellent. Well, at the beginning, I didn't even know who this actress was. I've watched a lot of movies, but I had never seen her face before. Sorry, she was completely unfamiliar to me, but she was genuinely outstanding. I honestly can't imagine any other actress being able to pull off such an insane, unhinged performance. Because this kind of craziness in the character, if you cast someone like Sydney Sweeney in this role, it just wouldn't work. It would probably feel awkward or strange, like you're watching a comedy instead of a horror film. But this actress, what's her name again? Let me check.
Inda Navarette.
Yeah. Yeah, so So this actress really deserves an award, in my opinion. I think the success of this movie is largely due to both the director and her performance. And in this film, she is genuinely creepy. She has that naturally pretty, a girl next door charm, but in the film, she often just stands there watching her boyfriend sleep or staring at him for long periods while smiling directly at the camera without cuts. You can't help but think, cut the scene already. She's smiling, which should be a happy image in theory, but it's unsettling. She often stands in the shadows as if reminding you that what the male lead is dealing with is no longer the girl he loved, but a distorted shadow of her. Some shots even reverse her walking movements, making her motion look unnatural. Well, I think it's a simple technique, but it's very effective. The film is somewhat like a demon possession horror movie, which is a genre that's very common nowadays, but structurally it's quite fresh. In most possession films, a normal person gradually taken over by a dark force, then the changes start subtle, then become more extreme, until the person is fully controlled and transformed into something terrifying. Well, Obsession follows a similar formula, except the trigger is, I wish the girl loved me more than anyone else in the world. It's a clever concept because it raises a deeper philosophical question. If you could snap your fingers and make someone love you, you would be changing their very nature. They would no longer be the person you originally fell in love with. They become an empty shell carrying your desire and will. Well, there's also a funny moment where the male lead's friend snaps the one wish willow and wishes for a lot of money. So if you ever encounter a cursed wish object, that's what happens. Money literally falls from the sky. The film really feels like modern horror. There are no monsters screaming at night or demons evading dreams. The real horror is dating culture and the idea of getting exactly what you want. That is what makes it scary. So although the film uses fantasy and any other horror elements, like all good romantic horror stories, it ultimately delivers something very grounded and unsettling. At one point, I honestly couldn't help thinking, just call the police already. All in all, I really like this movie. It's genuinely scary and deeply unsettling. If you are a horror fan and feel like this year hasn't had many fresh ideas, you should give it a try, but I probably wouldn't rewatch it again. Because when I see the girl's face again, I just get scared.